Welcome. Welcome very much to Conversation. A pleasure to welcome to the program Paul Craffey. And he's he's billed as an entrepreneur and an actor, and he's got a very interesting life story to tell that we're looking forward to talking to him about. And Paul, welcome so much to Conversations. I'm just here welcoming this a little book we're going to show we're going to have some reference to, called From Paper Slippers to, what is it again?
Paperback.
To paperback. This is a paperback story of his life, and we're going to be talking some out of this, maybe show some pictures. But Paul, welcome so much to Conversations.
Thank you, Harold. It's great to be here.
Now, tell me, young man, what is your background? Where you were born and raised? You're up in New England somewhere?
I was born in Boston, raised in a little town south of Boston.
It's Irish.
Irish, yeah. My dad's side was Irish. My mother's side was a mixed bag. My mother's father was a black man, very accomplished, and so I had a combination of. There wasn't any such thing in my family as ever talking about prejudice of any kind.
Oh, right,
it didn't exist.
Right. Well, that's
all
good.
people were good people.
Yeah, well, that's good, I suppose. Yeah, that is good. Yeah, and they have a lot of Irish up in Boston.
They
right?
do.
They have a lot of these stories about, the police stories and things up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a distinctive accent, this Bostonian.
You mean they parked the car in the Harvard Yard?
No, it sounds like Boston. That sounds like Boston to me. Yeah, right.
That's it, yeah.
So anyway, that's where you were born and so forth.
Right.
And so your family was a happy one and no further. What was the deal?
Yeah, they were basically. I mean, we were brought up Catholic, and I was an altar boy from a private Catholic schools, and we learned from a very young age what was right and what was wrong.
Okay.
And there wasn't much gray.
Yeah.
The gray came later as I got older. I had to put some gray in there because black and white doesn't work for.
Yeah, I know. It only take you so far.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
right.
right.
Yeah.
We had we were taught the work ethic from a young age. So I became a very. My family, it was all about education and work,
Really? Encouraging you to get education.
Yes.
Were your parents professional or not, or what?
They weren't. My father's sisters were all professional, but my father wasn't. He chose to go out to Hollywood and run away from his father's business.
Wow.
My grandfather, my father's father, was a contractor in Boston.
A builders and stuff?
Yes, and he started off on Mission Hill, same place where Kennedy started, and all of that. So. That was. He didn't want my father was sort of a renegade. He kind of a lot like me, really. I kind of ran away from a lot of the establishment as well.
Josiane, we got another renegade here in the conversation series. Imagine that, a renegade for a change.
Well, I kind of
it's a common fare here, yes.
Yeah, I kind of like to think of myself as an independent.
Yes,
probably.
right.
That's really more.
Right. Free spirit, maybe.
A little bit, yeah. I was weaned on Roosevelt and Kennedy and all of that, but I've kind of moved in a different direction.
Well, we're contemporary. We have about the same age board. We're both coming from the same age group and everything, so we got a little experience behind us now, right?
We do.
And
it's
speaking
true.
for myself, and anyway, and then you got into school, and then you went to school. And you have brothers and sisters? You had one because I saw a picture of your brother in this
there's a big family. There were 6 of us.
Yeah, six.
3 boys and 3 girls.
And was it a happy family?
Basically, yeah. I mean, we had
rivalries.
Like all families, there were always rivalries. And my brother and I one time caused a major upheaval. My parents were having friends over for an evening, entertaining in the dining room, and our bedroom was over the dining room. My brother and I were wrestling, and we practically knocked the ceiling down.
I'll be darned.
We had bunk beds.
Yeah, right.
So my dad, who was really we never got the strap very often, but that night after the guests left, we were reprimanded.
Oh, really? Yeah. The strap.
Yeah.
I never had that ever, anything, No, never had any corporal punishment from my family. Yeah.
Between the strap there, and then I had Sisters of St. Joseph and priests. So there was also there was no monkey business. It was really a lot of
And you were taught
discipline.
the work ethic.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
From a
yeah.
very young age. You know, I was
I don't
an
think-
altar boy from the 2nd grade. I read Latin, Greek, I mean, all of that. So it
Did
was-
you do Latin? Did you
I
study
did.
Latin?
I had to study Latin because
Amo, amas, amat.
Mika Power Stella.
Yeah, everybody learns that, and that's the direction for going to law school or something
Right,
like that, and everything
right.
like that. Yeah. Well, okay. So I hear you've done you got interesting stuff. And have you spent a good part of your life there, or have you moved around, or?
I stayed there until my senior year of college.
And where did you go to college?
Boston
again?
University.
Boston. And what did
Yeah.
you study there?
Well, Boston University
again.
it was an interesting program. I was
Mhm.
able to integrate liberal arts. I took some business courses, but I also took, we had a school of communications.
Uh-huh.
And we had our own closed circuit television station. And,
I see.
And so I was able to do a lot of that kind. That's where I got my appetite wet for theater. And in high school, I was in the senior class play.
Were you? Did you have lines?
I did. I had a big part.
Did you have a big part that you can remember? Did they get it on film? There would have been no television,
No.
video to get it on.
No, there was
I
no.
was in the 8th grade, so what are you, 13 or so when you're in the 8th grade? Something
Probably,
like that.
yeah.
Tough time. But anyway, they had then the minstrel show.
Oh, sure. My
Used to be
dad,
minstrel.
my parents were in all the minstrel shows in our church. My dad had a wonderful voice. He would
Mr.
sing.
Interlocutor, Mr. Interlocutor. There, and I was the star of the show. Yeah,
Okay.
and I was a what do you call it? A show off. I was showing off, and they made a recording of this. Is indicative of the times because I was born in '35, so it was long. It was a whole different world and everything. But at the time, and this, the mothers and you have a junior high school pageant. It's such an event, because the little boys and girls are up on the stage, acting, and it's such an event of a coming out kind of event, and there was a woman there who was one of the teachers. They were all sweet and everything, and she made a recording of it, and she was doing it for the mothers, for the families, but mothers, of the young kids. And it was recorded on a wire. Wow. There was a wire that was recording it, a copper wire. Yeah. They didn't have tape, I guess. I don't know if they did. But I know we never were able to get that into a format like we can do so well now, with an MPEG-4 or whatever. Everything's at our hands now. Yeah. But it was so there. But I remember being, I was a show-off on the stage.
You were an exhibitionist.
I was an exhibition. That's the word. Yeah, that's what they tell me. I was an exhibition. I sold the show. A show-off, yeah. A wise guy, I guess, or something.
See, I was a little different. I was always interested in what was going on behind the scenes.
Oh, were you? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
That may be something to do with the inner workings of your mind or something. Could we get to Freud and try to understand what it was? Or no, I'm just playing with you.
As a kid, I used to spend a lot of time with my grandparents. They lived in Roslindale, and they had this big barn. Yeah. And I would get all the kids in the neighborhood, and I would put on all these shows. I was always directing.
Like Judy Garland and Mickey Rudy?
Right.
Remember? Let's put on a show in the barn. Yes. They don't make movies like that anymore.
No, they don't.
In fact, they don't make worlds like that anymore, I'm afraid. Maybe. No, I guess maybe there's improvement. I don't know. That's something we can talk with down the line, whether the human condition's improving or what. But that's another issue.
That's a whole other conversation.
But you were in. Okay, go on. You talk. I'm talking too much.
No, I graduated. The last couple of years that I was in college, I spent a lot of time in New York. I got the bug, and I had friends who lived there.
You used to nip out of Boston to New York?
I did.
There wasn't enough action in Boston? There was a lot going on in Boston town.
Well, it was sort of provincial in those days.
And what age are you talking about when you would nip off to New York City? Was that 15?
Late 50s, 58.
No, what age were you?
Oh, I was like 20.
Oh, 20. You weren't like 13.
No.
That was too big a jump to do at 20. But at 20.
Right.
So you made your way for the stage. Was it Times Square you were after, or showbiz?
Initially, I didn't really know. I mean, the first Broadway show I saw was Gypsy with Ethel Merman.
Yeah. And God, what a talent! Yeah.
Who would have thought that about 7 or 8 years later, I'm in New York, and I met her at a party and
No,
we became
really?
friends.
Really good.
She
You're
treated
still
me like
friends?
her son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she still with us? Or
No,
no,
she's been gone quite a while.
Oh, God, so many people are.
Do you want to hear a wonderful Ethel Merman
Absolutely,
story?
yes, absolutely. She was a wonderful person.
A terrific person, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I understand. Yeah.
She was a devout Episcopalian, by
I
the
didn't
way.
know. Yeah.
People thought she was Jewish.
Yeah.
She took me one night to El Morocco, and it was the 50th anniversary of Earl Wilson, who was a big deal. And this kind of defines Ethel. Everybody was getting up to pay tribute to Earl, and there were a lot of big celebrities. All of show business was at this event. And Ethel was eating her food. She put down her fork and knife. She took a glass of water, and she got up and she gave a rendition of "There's No Business Like Show Business."
There's no business like show business. Yeah.
She tore the house down.
Yeah, right.
She was so electric. You
Yeah,
know. She was
yeah.
an amazing performer.
She had a heck of a pair of lungs.
She did.
Yeah. But she was nice. Is she a dear friend?
She was a nice woman.
And
she couldn't stand pretension.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
She loved people that were real.
Yeah.
She didn't like any phony business at all. She was a very real, down-to-earth person.
Well, that's good. Is it down? Well, now, what about that? That's the thing. Down to earth. Do we get down to earth people back in the fields of Iowa, where there are lots of cows and stuff, and they're not all corrupted by the urban environment? Down to earth. What do we mean when we mean down to earth? Everyone can understand or interpret. What do we mean when somebody was down to earth? Honest? Authentic?
Yeah, I think
outgoing.
I think a person
Friendly?
who has no guile. They say it like
guile,
it is.
Right? No guile.
Yeah,
right.
They say it like it is. You know.
My favorite human beings, for whatever it's worth, I do believe, I felt like this almost all my whole life and everything. I'm not sure about when I was at that, but in terms of age, I think it's my favorite, are 5-year-olds, 4 and 5-year-olds. They're absolutely gorgeous. They have no artifice at all. They have none. They're just totally
innocent.
Honest. Innocently honest.
Right.
I just can't get, they can just wrap me right around their finger. Those little kids, they're so, do you understand what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
I think we should all be like that, or we can't afford to be like honest. We learn to be guarded.
Yes.
And it's an interesting thing. That might have been a survival instinct, or something. Why do we have to get to be like us when we could all be like children? Or could it be safe? Could we have a world safe to be like 5-year-olds in their attitude toward things? Maybe with some knowledge and everything, but to be honest.
Well, I think.
Or what is the word you use? You said not guile. Use another word.
I used the word guile, I think.
Did you use guile? Yeah, guile, I think, is like innocence.
Well, yeah, I think,
I've known people who hate children, at least claim to hate children. Can you imagine anybody who hates children?
Well,
I mean, how can anybody hate a beautiful little child like that?
It says a lot about the person.
Well, maybe, that may be, and I ain't going to say who it is, but anyway, yeah. Anyway.
But I also think as we move along, as we get older, as we mature and hopefully continue to grow, I think a lot of the trappings do go away, and we become more open and honest. Because what's the point? I do. I think it's possible.
That's amazing. You think we become more open as we move away from being as we were when we were 5?
I think if we work at growing and getting more in tune with who we are and the more comfortable we are.
You've been talking to somebody of a psychiatric background. I do believe it. I don't quite know where you got it. I think it just builds up all kinds of defenses and contracts and things and fighting and this and that, fighting over money and things like that and everything, that the child has no thought. They're just honest.
I had wonderful.
We can't be honest like that. We would be just eaten up by a world that is very vicious. I mean, that's a particular way of seeing the adult world, but I think it's real.
It's real, but I was fortunate. I had wonderful therapists that I worked with. As a matter of fact, I had dinner in the village Sunday night with a man who really helped me save my own life, and
Really?
he's 95 years young.
God bless him.
And he's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still...
Is that a new meeting with you? A meeting with remarkable people? Is that a new thing, or is that an old friend that you met?
Oh, no, he was my therapist.
Your therapist.
For many, many years, and we became friends. He considers me one of his success stories.
Successes, right?
For whatever that's worth.
It'd be a hell of a thing to be. He's one of my failures. Yeah.
I think the most important thing is to be happy. You know, I really do. I was fortunate enough to know people who had that philosophy. My friend Givenchy, who's the dress designer, very famous dress designer.
I have no idea about design of clothes. I have no idea at all. I'm just...
He's also in his 90s and also very, he has a happy life.
Yeah, okay.
And,
well, if somebody has a passion or a thing or something that gives their life identity and purpose and positive feedback, to use a psychological term, they're going to be more happy. But to what is it that makes people happy is something that should be given serious attention by our leaders and by our institutions. Or in fact, is that a goal? Not to be making a lot of money or winning at this and that or doing this and that and everything. But, in a generic sense, what it is that makes a person happy. It would vary, wouldn't it?
Oh, sure.
People are different.
Of course. It has a lot to do with I believe a lot of all of us, from what happens to us in the first 7-10 years of our lives.
Those
tells
5 years,
a lot of the story, really.
Right. I guess you could beat it out of them. Get with it, kid, or something like, or the things like out of Dickens when you had little baby, infants going out and having to do all kinds of terrible things in the material world because it was so grim.
Well, it still is.
James Joyce has a thing, I say it all the time. James Joyce said, history is a nightmare. And one could add their own adverb or something of injustice from which we're attempting to awaken. Do you think the thing is things are getting better with time? If you look back over the whole course of the human experience, or what's your thought on that? Maybe that's too deep a question to go into at this early phase of this interview.
Well, I think, Harold, that the thing that I think we're in particularly challenging times right now.
You mean in this time frame?
In this time frame,
this decade or so? Yeah, okay.
And I think, as Dickens said, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. This is not the best of times, but I think it's important to just try and see the positive, see the good, because we have a lot of good. I mean, this country of ours that we've been fortunate enough to be brought up in
has a lot of good.
Has a lot of good. I mean, with whatever is wrong, I put the scale and I say there's a lot that's right. We're able
let me ask you a first question. Is there more right or more wrong in the way things is?
Well, the way things
That's the wrong use of it. It should be are. I know, and all the teachers are going to say it isn't, say it is. Yeah.
Well, I think the way things are right now, I think it's a challenge. I as a young person, and we were both young, there were so many opportunities available to us.
Well, yeah.
Young people today, the challenges are very different than they were with us.
You think so?
Yes,
yeah,
and it's not because we're of a different age.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time with young people. I mentor a lot of young people.
You do that now?
I do that now.
We want to get on to some of that you're doing.
I'm around a lot of young people. And, unless a young person today is from a very wealthy family or is extremely gifted with the technology, because everything today, you have to have the skills, the technological skills in order to survive in the world we live in today. There's the workplace demands it, really. And, all these young people that are studying computer science and really working at it and have a feeling for it. I have a young fellow, he's not as young as he was, but he started with me when he was 23, and he still works for me. He works remotely now because he went back to Rochester, has a wonderful job, but when he was young, he started with me at 23. What
were you doing that he worked with you on?
Well, I needed I needed to be boned up. I needed to know how to do all of the stuff.
All
we
the
were brought
cyber
up with
stuff.
paper, I wasn't brought up. We weren't brought up with all of the the digital age that we're in now, and
it's changing everything.
And it's changing every day.
Yeah, right.
You know,
yeah,
so
that's true.
I was just telling Josie before the interview that I'm planning to go up to Rochester where he has his home. I'm going to spend a few days having an intensive workshop there to kind of bone myself up even a little more, because it's necessary.
Yeah. That was Kodak.
That's right,
Headquartered
home of
in
Kodak.
Roseck. Yeah, I
Exactly.
associate.
Rochester's an interesting community.
Is it? I've never been to Rochester.
It's very interesting. In fact,
they get a lot of snow, I think.
They get a lot of snow, a lot of rough weather.
Yeah.
But it's really an affordable place.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting city. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So anyway, we're talking, and I've been talking too much and everything. So you're getting. So what have you been? You've written this, and what is the main? You've been to university. Did you do some university training? And what were you like in your 20s and 30s, and you're coming into your adult life? Well, what were you up to, and what was your motivation for getting up in the morning, or what?
Well,
or your lifestyle, your life's character, or your situation.
Well,
what's your story, Morning Glory?
Well, my story is much too sad to be told.
Oh my God!
Because
we're
everything about
poetics.
it leaves me young.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Ah, for poetry. Yes. Yeah.
But no, I was very fortunate. I had a job to come to when I came to New York.
What was the job?
I went to work for an organization called Robert L. Greene Associates. He was a PR. It was a PR agency.
Yeah.
And his main client. He was the fashion director of Playboy magazine.
Wow.
Plus, we had a whole rostrum of other accounts.
Fashion director of Playboy. God, that would be for a lot of people. That would be a really good gig, right?
At that time, it was way ahead.
That's
of
all
its time.
pretty ladies and everything, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of
right.
nudity. It was. He just died, by the way.
That's right. I saw that.
Away,
he just did. He was senior years.
91.
Yeah. God bless him. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But at that time, all the best writers were writing for Playboy magazine.
That's true. That's right. It was a literary.
It was a big deal.
Yeah. And that's where you were.
I was a gopher.
At a young guy for 20, 30.
I was Robert L. Greene. I was right out of college. That was my first job.
What's Robert L. Greene?
He was the one that owned the agency.
I didn't know. That was an agency that did the thing for Playboy, among other things.
They had other accounts as well.
Yeah, right. And so you were learning PR then.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something you were acquainted for, you were acquitted for.
Yeah,
or in your makeup. I mean.
Yeah, it kind of came naturally to me. But I was basically his gopher. I mean, I had to do. I wasn't an executive or anything. I was just,
Was it a big agency or mid-size?
Fairly good size. They had a whole floor of offices on Beekman Place in a building. And
that makes me think of Auntie Mame.
That's right.
Auntie Mame was on Beekman Place.
She was, that's true.
Wasn't Rosalind Russell something else in that?
She was.
It was a great movie. Great movie, yeah, right.
There's so many wonderful scenes in that movie, but I think one of the funniest is when she gets a temporary job as a switchboard operator. She's pulling off.
Funny, yeah.
But
sing over the mark, Mr. Yeah, right. It was. Yeah, she pulled it off marvelously. Yeah,
very well. Yeah.
But anyway, so you were there, and you were were you commuting? No, you were living in New York.
No, I was living in New York.
You came and lived in New York.
Yeah,
what part of town were you living in when you arrived?
I had a Coldwater flat on 2nd Avenue.
Coldwater flat on 2nd Avenue, and what street?
Right, it was just over where the Palm Restaurant is now.
I don't know the Palm.
Palm Restaurant was pretty well known.
Is it for the upper class?
Well, yeah, I guess.
I wouldn't know that.
It's expensive.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I lived there briefly, and then I moved from there and moved around a lot the first year, and I finally settled in the West Village on Washington Street. I had a great.
Still in PR and everything?
No, I'd already left that by that time. I had.
Into what?
Well, we were doing a big show at the Plaza Hotel.
We were doing. Who's doing?
From
the agency.
Yeah,
You're still with the company.
I'm still with the company.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
And one of the models didn't show up. They ended up using me
as a model.
And
I can see that.
And that's how
you have what they call good features, don't you think?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky.
Paul Newman or something,
Yeah.
Not like Woody Allen. It's different. You know. Yeah.
Right.
Different kind of charm. Yeah.
Right. So I was very lucky. I had a good
It's
business.
called Handsome. Have you been called Handsome?
Yeah, I have.
You have, yeah? I never have. I wish somebody would sometime, maybe, just for the hell of it, maybe I could drop a hint, or something,
Well,
well.
that doesn't all that is
You're supposed to say, well, you're supposed to say something different than that's not, you're supposed to say something that.
I was about to.
Tell me.
No, I mean I was brought up with that. That's not. You don't pay any attention to that. It's all about.
You mean looks?
Learning and growing and.
Is that what you were brought
yeah,
up with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world pays a lot of attention.
The world pays a lot of attention, more so now than ever.
They all have to be handsome and beautiful and everything, don't they?
Well,
no, not
today.
really.
I think it's a little different today. I think it's become less more so. It's not really that way.
Does the PR building, you can be doing that, but it doesn't get you involved with theater and stuff, or do it? Does it get you involved with the charm or the excitement of theater and movies in that kind of world, or is there PR just to sell aspirin or something?
Well, it did. I didn't stay at PR very long.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, once they used me for a model. I got taken to one of the.
Nobody's ever asked me to be a model. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay.
Never. My mother, maybe, she might have said,
Well.
but when you were a model, okay, yeah.
And I also did lots of acting. I did
You did acting.
commercials.
You're an
Yeah.
actor. Are you?
Yeah.
Do you think of yourself as an actor?
Well, yeah, I have a clip.
Are you a method? Do you
I
do
have
the method? Do you
well,
have
there's a clip I think that
Is there
Josie
a clip or
has over
something?
there
What is this
of
clip?
a film I did a few years
Are
ago.
we going to see a clip of video or something? Or what are we going to see? Okay, we're talking with Paul Craffey. Okay, here we go. That you? Yeah.
No.
No. No Valvin?
Aye.
No. Here it is.
Nay.
Nay.
There's no sound.
No sound. What's the sound? Oh, Christ. Well, back to the old silent movie days, or is
Anyway, just to give
is
you
our
a-
voice being recorded, Josiane?
Let
Is
me
our
give
voice
you-
being recorded over this, or is it on stuff? Okay. Well, then you explain it to me, like the
Okay,
old silent
the name of
movies.
the
We used to have attendance of silent movies. Now you got some sort of noise.
The name of the film was Coalition of One, and I played the president of the Senate, and that's who I was in that clip that you saw there.
And the sound guy didn't.
It's on my website.
I know it's on your website, and it was done right, and it's really good. The problem is here, with So anyway, that was it, gang. But we didn't hear the voice and the sonorous tone with that tenor tone.
Uh-huh.
Do you sing?
I do.
You are a singer
Yeah.
of popular songs.
Yeah, I do the American Songbook. I sang last night at a little club there.
You did? You sing? Do you
Yeah.
do ballads, or what do you
Oh,
do?
yeah, I do ballads.
Yeah, what kind of stuff do you do? I mean,
Um,
do you remember Mel Torme?
Sure.
Do you
it's
have,
one
what
of-
kind of a voice do you have?
A little bit like Mel Torme. Yeah, a little
Mel
bit like-
Torme. Danny Darrow, who knows a friend of yours, I understand.
Sure.
One of the fellows here and knows Josie and everything. I saw him singing here. His voice was more mellow. He was making a recording downstairs here,
Yeah.
and he was more mellow than Mel Torme. It was like honey.
Mhm.
Is that the kind of voice you have?
I'm a little raspier than that. I can give you a little sample.
Yeah,
if
okay,
you'd
do.
like.
Sing
I'll sing-
Yankee Doodle
I'll do a
Dandy.
little bit.
No, or something. Yeah.
The night is like a lovely tune.
Oh, my God.
Beware my
Oh.
foolish heart.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's good. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yankee Doodle do or die.
James Cagney.
James Cagney, yes, right. We used to have a place in Detroit called Dakota Inn.
Uh-huh.
And everybody was a Rathskeller setting in Detroit, where I was brought up. And it was a guy up on a piano, and they had all these big oaken tables with steins of beer. And you would go there, and they had this, it was like a Rathskeller, and they did singing. It would be singing. And we would go there, and after a couple of pints of beer, everybody thought they were Caruso or Maria Callas, and everybody would sing the old songs, you know, Al Jolson and all that kind of stuff. People do not sing anymore. They used to. There's no place in New York City, and there's no place that anybody will sing like the customers, not just go and listen to somebody who's a pro, but they would just go and lock arms and sing, you know, like, la, la, la. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do,
How come there's none of that spirit anymore?
Well,
why do we do it? Did you ever?
Times.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. But I wanted to say that I spent a lot of time in Detroit.
Did you really? Yeah.
When I was modeling, the agency that I was with, we had a contract to go there and they photographed the cars. All the cars were done
are
in
a big thing in
big
Detroit.
hangars.
Yeah.
And we used to play cards all day because it used to take them a long time to light them.
Yeah, right.
So I was there many times, and it was
So you're a model.
It was a challenge.
You were a model.
Yeah, I did a lot of work.
Yeah, and did you do much with film?
I did a lot of commercials. I did a film in Mexico. I had with DuPont fibers.
You had lines and everything?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Was it a shoot 'em up, or was it a?
No, it wasn't that kind of a movie. It was a promotional trade film for DuPont fibers. I used to do a lot of modeling for them, and they took me to Mexico. And we traveled all over Mexico. We did still, and I did a lot of water sports. I was a good tennis player.
You're athletic?
Yeah, I am. I swim every day. Well, not every day. I swim about 5 times a week.
That's good.
When I'm in my house in Florida, I swim every day.
Yeah. I won a medal for swimming once.
Good for you.
Yeah, in the Army. I won the medal. I got a medal. I swear to God, I got a medal. I could tell you that it'd take too long. So you had a very interesting life as a model and do you count yourself as an actor, movie actor, as a major part of your consciousness?
What I call myself is, the thing that I did the longest was work as a businessman. I worked in the fashion business. I was fortunate enough to run companies there. I traveled all over the country with that.
What does somebody in the fashion business do? I mean, what is? I don't understand it at all. You know.
Well,
what do you have to? What skills do you have to? Do you have fashion? I don't think men care about fashion. Men are sort of like dumb animals. They go around, they have no taste and everything. The women really have a sense of fashion. There's these magazines, they're all, don't you think?
No,
men are slobs, you know. They're compared to, women have all the class when it comes to being concerned with that, it seems to me. Am I wrong? At least, I guess maybe it's maybe that's a clue to the kind of people I've been hanging. But men just seem to be like dogs. And women are like cats, you know, they're really glamour. Do you understand what I mean?
Well,
or am I being overdrawn?
I think it's changed a lot. I don't, the world is not like that anymore.
You don't think?
I don't think
so. Oh, maybe
so.
It's me. Yeah, okay, good.
I don't know. I think it's changed.
Yeah.
Women are doing a lot of the work that men used to do years ago, and men are, the couples are having children, and the men are staying home, and the women are going to work, and it's a whole different ballgame than it was.
Yeah, you think so? Things are really changing, huh?
Well, it's still the old boys' school.
So you were doing management also.
Yes.
Did you run your own company? You have I think attached to your name is entrepreneur. That's somebody who starts something up and everything. Have you got that part of your background?
When I left the fashion business, I didn't want to do that any longer. I had the last job I had was like my own business. So I left that, and I became an antique dealer. And my first venture was a shop. I had a shop in Springfield, Massachusetts. That was not a success. It got great reviews, but it was not financially successful. So I came back to New York, and I regrouped. I started a flea market, and I started doing all the major shows. I had a private clientele.
Wait a minute, major flea market shows?
No, the antique shows.
Antique shows?
All the
flea market bespeaks what? What is a flea market exactly? I have an idea. Did you say flea market?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is a flea market?
Well, a flea market is where people go where you can buy antiques. And
various kinds of things. Yeah.
But then the upscale version of that are shows. The big shows. The big antique shows.
And you got involved in that.
So I got involved in that, and I did that, and I built a nice.
It was an offshoot of Antique, right?
Yeah. Well, it was.
Antiques Roadshow is on the television now, and they show items and somebody. Yeah. Right.
Right.
and people have an eye for that.
Yeah.
And
right.
as you were running the business, you had to have did you have to purchase things as
Oh,
part of
sure.
your
I traveled
portfolio?
all over.
How did it work? You had to grab her, you would travel around in a trailer with a bunch of stuff in the trailer?
No.
Or how does it work? I'd be curious how that works, you know? Because that's a lot of history, and a
Yeah.
lot of stories are tied up in that. It seems to me it's a very noble thing.
Well, it's something that I was always interested in, and
Yeah.
it started off. I started off going to Brownfield, which was a big market where I would do a lot of buying.
Is that in New York?
It's in Massachusetts.
In Mass,
yeah,
okay.
And then I would go out to Pennsylvania, where there were also big markets that I would go to. I started going to Florida, and then I graduated. I
Wait a minute, you would go with a lot of things? How does that go? I mean,
no.
tell me how it works. You have to have.
Well, I would go and buy and bring whatever I bought. I would bring back to market, and I would sell it. That's
But
what
you
I did.
had a physical place where you were located, somewhere where you brought all the stuff to? How does it work? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I had a storage place where I kept my things.
You'd store things, but you didn't
But
have
I-
a shop where you would sell things, or
I
did you?
I initially had a shop,
Yeah.
and I closed the shop. I
Okay.
told you, in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, I decided to come back to New York,
Uh-huh.
and I actually started a flea market.
That's
And
your
where I
entrepreneurial thing, for one
Yeah,
thing.
I
That
s-
takes a lot of guts.
Three of us started it, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. And then I went from that, I built a business, and I did all the big shows. And I would,
As flea market business?
no, it was, you know, paintings in silver, all kinds of things,
Well,
collectibles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did the name flea market come from? Flea. Flea is like a little bug.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
why a flea? Why is it called flea market?
that's a good question.
Or
I
maybe you
honestly
don't know. Okay.
Being honest with you, I don't really know.
And
I
how
should
does it
know,
differ
but I
from
don't.
the general art market or the general market?
Well, it's generally it's a lower, you know, less expensive. It's where people go to think that they can get really very good.
It's not
bargains.
Sotheby's.
It's not Sotheby's.
No,
You
that's
know,
that's a distinction.
Yeah, Sotheby's is there, and then then the shops, and then there's the Palm Beach show, which is the fanciest show.
Yeah.
And then there's there's a lot. It's all different levels.
Now, you were drawn to that, or you were successful in that, and what skill sets did you bring to that to be successfully running or being involved with the flea market thing? And did that go for a month, or did that go for a couple, 10 years, or what?
I did it for 32 years.
32 years
Yeah.
is a long time.
Mhm.
So you know of what you talk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a major part of American culture?
It was. It's going through like everything else, like the book business and everything else.
The
It's
what
a shrinking.
business?
It's a
Book
shrinking
bus-
market.
Yeah, book.
It's a shrinking market because young people are really not that interested in collecting the way
What
we
does that
were.
speak about our educational system or our values? I mean, I've been to those kind of shows, and they're absolutely wonderful. You go through, and then there's something that's just perfect for somebody, not for somebody else. But it's not all standardized thing off the assembly line that you get at a market. You know,
Right.
it's an interesting thing. You could come up, and that show they have on television. Have you ever seen that? It's Antiques
Oh, sure.
Roadshow.
I've seen it. It's show business.
It's a very popular show.
Yeah, it is.
And it's got a certain kind of quality to it
Mm-hmm.
that enriches the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And to go someplace where there's going to be something, you're going to walk down aisles or something, and all of a sudden there's something that's perfect for you. But it's not, I'm trying to get at something here, I'm not sure. It's perfect for you, and you can't get that at the five and dime, or the standardized things, the commodities that come out of
Yeah, but-
factories that have made it all by no hands and nothing art or anything. You know, it's just it seems to me it's an interesting American or world. They have that in Europe too.
Oh, sure.
Why did it get the name flea?
You've asked me that question a few
I
times,
asked it,
and
but
I
that
honestly,
just came
to
to
be
my
honest
mind.
with you, I don't have an answer for you.
Could you call it grasshopper flea?
You know, I don't know.
Is it got to do with the bug? Oh, you don't know. I shouldn't keep asking you because you don't know how it got to be called that. But
Wow.
it's a very interesting part of American or world culture, that kind of trading or involving. And the people involved in that, I'll bet they're very interesting people.
They are.
Yeah,
It's
because they have to have an eye for real value. artistic value, and do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
And you were involved in that for 30 years. Are you
32
still
years.
involved in that?
A little bit. I
Yeah.
keep my hand in it, but not the way I was.
Did you
before.
enjoy it?
I loved it.
It was a fun thing. I would have
Every
bet it
day
would
of my,
be.
it was like being in a workshop, learning every day new
Yeah, I'll
things.
bet. And you're dealing with human beings too. You like being in association with human beings rather than some office where you never see another person.
Yeah, I'm
Just
I'm not
figures in a ledger.
Yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. It
one
takes
of the-
all kinds, I guess.
Takes all kinds.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I don't want to sit really in front of a computer screen all day long either. And
Oh,
it's
you're
not-
out of luck with that,
not
I
for
think.
me.
Isn't that
Well-
what everybody's doing nowadays? No, they don't. They don't have screens. They
They
just
have
have a
their
little thing.
smartphone. yeah.
Smartphone. Do you have a smartphone?
Oh, sure, of course.
Is everybody in the world except me have a smartphone? Am I the
Well-
only person without a smartphone?
No.
I'm beginning to think.
No, there are a few others.
And they keep getting smarter, don't they?
They do. You can do
How
anything.
do you keep up with the changes that come? Because every time you turn around, they made another fantastic revolution in information and things they can add and everything.
Well, I mentioned earlier, I have a fellow who worked for me for several years.
Oh, and he knew
And
that
he's,
stuff.
he's very savvy about the technology. And I
Yeah.
work, and I still, in fact, yeah, I work with him on a
Oh.
regular basis. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a really interesting life. So 30 years is a long time. That was a major part of your life. That was in New York and other parts of the country.
Traveled all over the world. really.
Did you
South-
travel with a trailer full of things?
No,
That was the
no.
flea market.
No, I never traveled.
I mean, I
that
got the
way.
idea people got all kinds of things in boxes and.
Yeah, no, I never did that. The only I worked only in New York for that. And when I did the shows were either in New York or some in Long Island. I did the shows in the Hamptons, and I kind of really graduated to that kind of market.
Okay,
That's where I wanted to
I'm
be.
going around it, but the hell of it is, it's too interesting, and that's the thing. Now, what are you up to, or what is the major things that engage you now? And
Well, I've gone back to produce. My partner and I produced an original musical.
for the stage.
Yeah, 3 years ago, I had a big part in it, and we produced it, and it was at the Cherry Lane Theater in the Village.
Wow.
Yeah, it was for the film film festival, and it went. It got a nice play.
It was a stage play
Yeah, it was a musical.
for a film festival.
It was a musical.
But a
Not a
mu-
film. It was a theater.
Do they have theater festivals now?
Oh, sure.
Or they have film
Yeah.
festival? Everything's
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
What's the status? Is theater an important thing to you now?
I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
I
Doing it
yeah.
on stage.
Yeah, I
That's
do.
what my daughter is involved in.
Yeah, I
She's
sing a
in
lot.
theater.
I do a lot of cabaret.
You
singing.
do cabaret singing?
Yeah. In fact, this is a show that
Yeah. Let
my
me see.
partner wrote. It's about Marilyn Monroe, who she was as a person. you
She
know.
was really something else.
Yeah.
Okay, here, let's see if
She
you
was
can
way
show it.
ahead of her
Maybe-
time.
yeah, here, we're going to come in. Just in case you wanted to see somebody who's really, really ugly, really ugly lady. This is the ugly lady of, isn't she gorgeous, huh?
She was. Yeah.
Some Like It Hot is really a funny movie.
Mhm.
That was really funny.
Mhm.
And she had there was a sense of a tragic thing about her. I don't know, something. But
Well, she died when she was 36.
yeah, that's not
Yeah.
fair. 36 is not fair.
Yeah.
That's far too young and everything.
But she had a lot of issues. Her mother had them, and it was in the genes, and so
Yeah.
the show is really about
So do you
that.
think of yourself partly as showbiz?
Partly.
You
yeah.
are showbiz.
Yeah.
Now, what's the major thing? If you were to say, okay, young man, what are you? Like if somebody's a lawyer, I'm an accountant, I sell cheese, I do this, what are you?
Well, I guess I would say that I'm a kind of a guy who's followed a lot of different roads, different paths. That's what I've done, and it's only enriched my life. I mean, I've had challenges along the way. It hasn't all been an upward hill.
It hasn't been all an easy go?
No,
Did you
not
have
at all.
struggles?
Of course I have
Of course,
struggles.
I've had a few.
We all
Too
have.
many to mention. Isn't there a song about
Yeah,
that? Do you know
sure.
that song?
Oh, yeah.
Could you sing it? A life along the byway, but I did it my way.
That's a Sinatra song.
Wasn't he something else?
He
huh?
was, yeah.
He really did have the talent,
Yeah.
Do we have talent like that now? I mean, was that a time of great? You wouldn't have gone to Woodstock, huh?
I didn't go to
You wouldn't have been
Woodstock.
with the hippies.
No, no. Hippie was not my thing.
It was not your thing.
No, no.
Okay.
I was always interested in,
Glamour, or maybe if
yeah,
that's
that's
right.
a good word.
Yeah, the
I
better
like,
things. Yeah,
I like
right.
glamour.
That's
I liked style.
Now, what about politics? Were you political? Or you been political? I don't mean to pry and everything, but
Well, I have my views on things.
are you dyed-in-the-wool Republican? Are
no,
you all for Mr.
No, I'm
Trump?
very much
Are
of
you
an independent.
independent?
Yeah, and I enjoy.
Maybe you're not supposed to talk about politics.
Well,
Some people say you can talk about their sex life, but you can't talk about their politics.
everybody talks about their politics today.
Do they? Oh, it's so boring.
Everybody's
right.
got a view.
You're right. You're right. It's so boring.
Bob Hope was a diehard Republican, and he never talked about his politics.
That's what I thought.
Audrey Hepburn, who I was fortunate enough to have acquaintance with.
Really.
She would be interviewed, and they would ask her about her politics, and her reply was always, and she was a very smart lady, by the way.
Really.
Her reply would be, "What do I know about politics? I'm just an actress."
Ah, wait a minute. Yeah, but I don't think. Yeah, but what actress? Okay, actress. My daughter's an actress. She went to Yale and all that, and she got a thing. And I think about that acting. Like acting is.
Well, we're all kind of actors.
Well, do you think that's interesting? That's an interesting thing because acting is you're teaching. You're not being spontaneously to what you really are. You're pretending, or you're lying.
Not really.
When you say the biggest line in the history of the world is "I love you," and you don't. They don't. You're acting. It's like a feature. It's a kind of thing that shouldn't be encouraged.
Harold,
should we encourage the young people not to tell the truth?
Harold, if you're really an actor and really care about the process of acting, it has to come from a sense of truth about yourself. That's what good acting is. I mean, you've seen enough acting to know if an actor connects with something that's real within themselves.
Well, to tell you that God's honest truth, I really sometimes think I see acting all the time by citizens. If somebody's got a dog and it's their dog and the dog just got run over by a steamroller and is flat, they're going to be really upset, honestly upset. Now, if they're going to come and pretend their dog was rolled over by a steamroller and they can con people into thinking that they can lie. It's like lying, like politicians. Acting. You're not being really yourself spontaneously. I see people in the street walking around just absolutely Academy Award performances. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just life.
Yeah.
Now, what am I to think about that? Does that make me what do you call it when somebody is really dense when it comes to that?
Blindsided?
Not blindsided. No. There's a word for a schmuck. No, it's not a schmuck. It's not a schmuck. It's I forget the term, but it's somebody who's saying something when they don't know what they're talking about or something. But that thing about, I just think people are wonderful, just being themselves without pretending. They're pretending. They're not telling the truth. Now, I know there's an art to it, okay? I'm just showing how gauche, that maybe is the term I'm looking. Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
But if you're really feeling something real, that's just a citizen being real. But you have to pretend that you're doing something is like conjuring or lying.
It's a little too abstract for me, Harold.
Oh, okay. Well, but don't you see Academy Award performances in the streets of Manhattan all the time? I mean,
yeah. Well, that's reality.
Well, that's reality. Yeah. But so, what is this thing about art? I mean, the acting is so important in our culture now. They're the ones who are the leading figures, are the actors in the movies and everything, aren't they? Culturally, so more than politicians, I think. They're
Well, we've become addicted to celebrity. That's
celebrity is maybe a term, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't just.
And there are icons. We
Yeah.
even brought them up, Jimmy Durante and all that stuff.
But it applies to every.
And they did have something beyond just that thing.
But-
I
but-
was being
but-
I was being gauche.
Yeah, but it applies because we're so addicted to celebrity. It applies to every field. It applies to Wall Street. It applies to the food business. It applies
Surgeons.
everything. Lawyers. Everybody's wants their 5 minutes of fame today. That's the way it is.
No, it's the attitude of the public in general about the thing. Yeah, well, yeah. And I guess that's sort of a thing like we were talking, did we begin this talking about when we were in university and we thought there should be at the university, instead of all the departments of specialization, everybody's becoming so specialized in knowing how to do something, and the market follows specialization and rewards specialization in practically everything. More specialized you are, and you get a certificate, you're specialized in painting onions or what the hell ever it might be, something like that, then that's where the value is, because it's specialized out, and all the education is trying to get everybody specialized out into something as though that's got great value, but it takes away from the systems thinking.
Yeah.
There's not enough systems thinking, or there should be a department of everything at the university. There isn't. Did we make a joke about that at the beginning of this, or did I conjure that in my memory?
I don't recall that.
We didn't, but we could have.
We could have.
Yeah, yeah. So do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and I think we're. It's a good point, but I think the thing we have to do, at least the only thing I can do, is try to be the best person that I can be every day of my life, and just try to be kind. I have a mentor of mine who's a very close friend. In fact, I'm having dinner with him tonight later. And he says the most important thing is to be kind. I don't want to be a part of negativity. I think there's enough of it. Negativity breeds negativity. I don't like.
I like that, being kind. But if you've got the role of Humphrey Bogart when you're going to hit something, and the film calls for you to blow the son of a bitch's head off. That's acting. Well, that's what I'm saying. We celebrate that.
We celebrate.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Rather than kindness.
Yeah.
Or authenticity. We distrust authenticity, perhaps. I don't know. I may be wrong, and barking up a wrong alley or something.
Well, don't you think?
But for somehow they
don't
want
you think
everything is getting so programmed.
But don't you think that people, the world that I travel in, I think people
maybe that's the difference.
They want to connect with reality. They want to connect with something that's real.
Maybe more and more people are wanting to, yeah.
I think
than
so.
it has been. Maybe I'm just a little jaded, maybe, huh?
Well, I
think
think young people, particularly because I'm around so many of them,
yeah.
they're not buying into that at all.
Been around many 5-year-olds lately?
Yes,
universally gorgeous, despite what some people think. There's some people who don't like little 5-year-olds. I can't imagine little sprats. No, I'm sorry. I'm just waxing often. Yeah, do you want to be kind? Are you optimistic for the human prospect?
I like to try to stay optimistic. Yeah, I don't. By being pessimistic, that's not going to solve anything.
It gets pretty extreme now with the weapons that could destroy the whole damn species.
Right.
Do you ever think about that?
I do. Yeah.
Do you feel a sense of anxiety about the fact that these guys are juggling hydrogen bombs that have the ability to wipe every single human being off the face of the map?
Well, I just don't go there. I
Okay.
find that it's if I went there, I wouldn't be sleeping at night.
How about do you
I
think
need
of
to
all
sleep.
the injustices that exist? We had slavery throughout the whole damned experience. We have
still
all
have
the
slavery.
we still have it. We have wage slavery. We have all kinds of slavery. Very few people are able to be really fully engaged, like a jam session, as you hit the high note at the or moments of real exaltation and all that kind of stuff. They don't have a chance to do that because they're just being treated like slaves by the system, and it's beaten out of them. I think too much. Is there a possibility for bringing a liberation to the human spirit for everybody, every cell in the body? There's 100 trillion cells in a human organism, more or less. That's a lot. Each cell is individual, and each cell is connected to the whole system. Do you understand?
And we're all connected.
And we're all connected.
Right.
So what I'm saying, there's a lot of people that are not being well served and are just having terrible starvation, watching which child you're going to let starve to death or something like that, and made to suffer that kind of stuff far too much. Do you think we might have a possibility, just we got the possibility of extreme destruction of the whole thing, being our existence in universe, which we've never had in 200,000 years? We may have a chance to liberate the whole Homo sapiens species in a way where everybody is able to be doing their own thing on their own terms without being a slave of anybody else or some system that says you have to do it this way or that. They can be like a whole humanity jam session hitting high C or something.
Well, that's positive. That's being working
that we
toward a
may be coming to
solution.
the end of the Homo sapien experience.
Possibly.
Do you feel like that, or do you
Well,
think that?
there was a movie that came out in the late 50s. It was called On the Beach. Do you recall
Of
that
course
movie?
I do. That was about destruction of the
Yeah.
atomic weapons.
Yeah.
But now they're hydrogen weapons, and some guy in Korea's got one. And we
Right.
got a president who's off his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He may be absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that bother you, or does it? Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up.
No,
It's political.
of course it does.
Yeah.
I'm very, I mean, frankly, I think,
And inept.
I feel it's beyond political.
You do. Okay.
Yes.
So you
I-
only
I
got
think-
2 minutes to make it
Yeah.
straight. The
I
world.
think- I
You can
think-
straighten out the whole world right now in 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. Go.
I think it's beyond political. I
Mm.
think we are in a very treacherous and challenging and difficult time. It's manifesting itself. You know, New York City is a microcosm
Yeah.
of what's going on everywhere.
I guess.
We're all
yeah.
so close together here. There's so much anger here,
Yeah.
so much really intense anger.
Yeah, across
People
the
are
world.
frightened.
Across the world.
Across
but
the
here,
world.
yeah.
But you're
okay.
aware of
Yeah.
it here because it's such a populated area.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, if I go to
Like
my
a pressure
place-
cooker.
if I go to Florida, which I
Yeah.
try to do as often as I can.
Nice sunny weather. Yeah.
Well, it's not only that; it's civilized. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's
Really?
we're reaching more and more. I think people need to be in a place where there's a level of serenity and civility. you
Yeah,
know. I mean, I
right.
find I need it. Don't
yeah.
you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
I
mean-
it'd be nice. It would be nice if we could get some. I hear tell it exists. You know. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that you want. We all have to retreat and recharge our batteries. I mean, navigating in this town is like, it's boot
You
camp.
could have been born into the 8th century. It took 10 or 100 years to invent a tack. Now there's a revolution comes over the transom every day in every field. It's like a quickening in pregnancy.
Well,
We're
because-
coming to the end of the human experience.
Because we have so much communication.
Either-
Everything is instant. Everything is here. Everything is instant.
Well, I'll tell you something else. This instance is the end of a television program interview. As we come to the end of that, I'm afraid we run right out of time. So it's been your pleasure to have the perceptions. There it is. It's on there, and it's Paul Craffey.
Craffey.
Paul Craffey. Human being extraordinary. We got to get it in before the end of the credits. Thank you, Paul.
Thank
Beginning
you.
of a beautiful friendship, I would hope. Give my
Thank
love
you.
to Danny Darrow, that
I
guy.
will.
He's
Take
somebody
care.
worth knowing.
I
Thank
will.
you for viewing, everyone, one and all. Thank you, Josie Ann. Thank you. And we'll be coming back again tomorrow, so tune in. So over and out for now. Thank you very, very much. Okay. Oh,
That's
thank you for
yours.
that. Thank you for this. Is this mine too?
That's yours.
Oh, I'm going to
Both
read
of
it
you.
with great delight. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That was great.
Good.
Okay. See, it's 58 minutes.
Perfect.
Sorry, I got off on a tangent, but okay.
No problem.